This is episode 8, season 2 of the TO Sports Talk podcast. I'm your co-host, Evan Brown. That's your host, James Price. The trade deadline has come and gone for the Toronto Maple Leafs and for the league. We were a little disappointed, well, I was, I think you were too, of the Leafs not getting a right-handed defenseman or defenseman in general. But we did, Dubas did make a small move in Lindholm going to the Winnipeg Jets for Nick Baton. Nick Baton, former second-round pick.
The thing I like about Nick Baton, and I saw it on, I think it was Instagram or something, that he's 23 years old, so put into perspective, he's a year younger than Andreas Johnsson. His AHL numbers are identical to Johnsson's last year. So, if you put it in perspective, when they were the same age, they had the same AHL points. Now, will they convert into NHL points? We don't know about Nick Baton, but he needed a new change of scenery. The Jets weren't playing him at all, and you know the Jets are a heavy team, right? And he's not a big guy, so he didn't really fit into their system at all. They move him. Lindholm has done really nothing for the Leafs this year. 1 goal, and it was a greasy tip-in against the Capitals early in the year.
Well, it's funny because when you mentioned Andreas Johnsson numbers, he performed when he came up to the Leafs. Johnsson in third line, fourth line role when he first came up to the Leafs. They put Nick Baton probably on the third or fourth line, I would imagine.
Right.
Didn't perform, had like 23 games this year, had 2 or 3 points, not even a goal. So you compare his AHL numbers to Johnsson, I agree with you there. NHL, I think he's a smaller guy than Johnsson too. Johnson's about 5'11"?
It's very
and
similar.
This guy's
like
5'9".
Inch or two
yeah,
difference.
I think he was on the 2015 World Juniors team. Yeah,
well, the one with was it the one with Domi? No, I don't
McDavid
think
was on that team.
Was it really? I think
they
won it that year. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, but again, he looked great, and I completely agree with you. He needed a change of scenery from Winnipeg, where he wasn't getting the minutes. He was great on the Manitoba Moose. Yep. I mean, you're getting rid of a guy who's not coming back. Lindholm, they weren't going to re-sign. I don't think Mike Babcock was really impressed with him.
Yeah, no.
You know, he looked okay in the first 15 odd games. I was mentioning this to you, but in the last 20 games, nothing. So, I mean, you're getting rid of a guy who's not big, who's a center, quote unquote, was really not good on the face-offs, not good defensively. But I like this move for any other team besides the Leafs. So, mind you, it's a great trade, but we just don't need a player like Nick Baton.
No, you see, you don't need this to happen, right? You like you said, we didn't need a guy like Nick Baton, but like you said, Lindholm's an unrestricted free agent at the end of the year. He was going to walk. That's that. Yeah. With Nick Baton, he's 4 years. I think Lindholm is 27, isn't he?
Yeah, 27.
Like
yeah.
27 years old is Nick Baton. Is Lindholm. Nick Baton's only 23. So first things first, you got 4 years younger. Yeah. Now, size difference, you wouldn't say there's much difference between Lindholm and Baton. Maybe an inch or two or something like that. But he's 4 years younger. After next year, Baton is still an RFA. So if you're looking at it for that sake, you got a younger player, probably a more skilled player than Lindholm.
Oh, 100% skilled.
And you have 4 years younger and more team control. So, was it a big trade? No. Was it a good trade for the Leafs? Yeah, it definitely was.
But we're not really fulfilling the need the Leafs need, which is size up front or a right-handed defenseman. Now, the one player where I kept beating the drum is Radko Gudas. He wasn't traded.
Well, the funny thing was, a lot of the players that we were beating drums for didn't move. Chris Kreider didn't move. Yeah. Dougie Hamilton, Brett Pesce. Guys like that did not move.
Yeah, now there was a lot of trade insight on Connor Brown, especially with the
Edmonton Oilers.
Yeah. They were mentioning about trading Matt Benning for Connor Brown. Now, not to be a homer, but I think Connor Brown is a lot more skilled than Matt Benning. He does only have 5 goals, but he's a former 20 goal. Yeah. He's a former 20 goal scorer. And Matt Benning, I mean, he's a defenseman. Right-handed defenseman, but I mean, really, but the Leafs were counter-offering that to Adam Larsson. Now, obviously, the Leafs would have to throw in something other than Connor Brown.
Probably, obviously, something with a lot more value to it.
Yeah,
Connor Brown's not a bad player, but he's not an Adam Larsson type of deal. They traded Adam Larsson for Taylor Hall, so let's just throw that out there.
Yeah, so anything they get back for Adam Larsson, if they were traded, it would still can be paired to Taylor Hall.
Let's say that happens a 1-for-1, which it won't with Connor Brown. I'm just saying if that.
You know what? Let's just say Connor Brown and Zaitsev for Larsson. Let's just say that.
There you go. So you're basically telling me you got Connor Brown and Zaitsev for Taylor Hall.
I don't think Edmonton Oilers could ever trade Adam Larsson.
Not after the whole trade Taylor Hall deal. I don't care how bad he is. or if I mean, we don't watch enough Edmonton Oilers games to see how bad Adam Larson is.
I don't think he's bad, but he was just not worth Taylor Hall at all. He's a top 4 defenseman.
Yeah,
he's
but
a top 4
he's
defenseman.
He's not anything special, and you gave up Taylor Hall, who won the Hart, I think it was, or no, won the.
He won some award last year,
yeah.
but I think Adam Larson would be a staple top 4 defenseman. Could be paired with Gardner. If that were to happen, we'd probably have to give up a lot. Well, I wouldn't say a lot more. Maybe Connor Brown, maybe another defenseman, or maybe a depth forward or draft pick.
Now, somebody that has been linked to the Leafs quite often that did move, a guy like Wayne Simmons. Now, I know we're going to talk about the whole rental deal, and Kyle Dubas has clearly come out and said that he does not want rental players.
Not yet.
Right. However, you look at that Wayne Simmons trade. I mean, I'm going to find that actually. We'll find it in a little bit here. But all that the Nashville Predators had to give up was like a second and a fourth. Really?
Because they don't have a deal set in stone for Simmons, Nashville. Simmons is a straight rental for Nashville. Yeah. It's not like the Marks.
Agreed. But look at the talent you have in Wayne Simmons, and you didn't have to give up a first round pick. You only gave up a second and a fourth. And I'm like,
and Hartman.
Man, the Leafs. Oh, and Ryan Hartman. So okay, yeah. Yeah.
So a former first round pick. So pretty much you gave up, let's just say 2 seconds and Hartman in a second and then a fourth. So pretty good, but Wayne Simmons, I don't think he's going to resign in Nashville.
No, I don't. Where are they going to have the cap space
exactly,
for that,
but
really?
The Leafs know they're not, right now they're not, they can't do what the Winnipeg Jets are doing in bringing in Kevin Hayes. They can't do what Nashville's doing and bringing in Wayne Simmons yet.
You can't do what the Columbus Blue Jackets are doing and bringing in 1 million rentals and just praying to God they win.
But by the way, huge props for them for actually going for once in there.
They have to. I mean, really.
Wow. They didn't have to.
The fan base is not big. And are you going?
And they deserve this.
And you hear that Panarin and Bobrovsky are probably going to walk at the end of the year. And if they trade those 2 guys, they don't really have a strong future. They have a few guys that are not half.
We'll get back into that, but but back to Dubas. I think when the Marleau contract's up, that's when you can see the Leafs going out and getting big rentals.
Because that's $6.5 million. But that's about Willie Nylander money, right?
I love Patrick Marleau. He's a great mentor, but he's a little bit of a contract burden on this team. I'm not gonna lie.
Well, of course he is.
So when the deal was done, I think 3 years. I mean, the first year would look great, but the next 2,
Well, that was the question mark right after the contract was signed. Like, yeah, the first year he's gonna be great because we don't have to worry about Nylander, Marleau, or Marner, Matthews contracts, or at least we're not gonna be in any salary cap issues that year. However, it was the following 2 years that was gonna be the real, I guess, X factor, and the fact that the Leafs got Nylander and Matthews back with Marner still on the contract isn't bad.
Marleau, you mean?
Yeah, that's what I said, didn't I?
No, you said Marner.
Oh, okay. Well, the fact that the Leafs have Matthews and Nylander under contract with Marleau still on their still on the cap, it's really impressive because I mean if there's any time to trade Patrick Marleau, I think it's in the offseason this year because then free up a lot of money to sign a guy like Mitch Marner and Andreas Janssen who's putting up a great year, and so is Kapanen.
Yeah, and let's not forget that Nathan Horton's contract's up next year too. I mean, he is on LTIR, but you're still getting rid of $2 million.
Yeah.
Because $2 million of his salary, because yes, he's signed to what, 5 point something?
Mm-hmm.
I think $3 million of that is on long-term injury, and then the other 2 is on the cap. So once Horton's contract's off, that $2 million is off is off the books, right? Yeah. So I think that's $9 million right there between Marleau and Horton.
Yeah, and then you throw in a guy like Ron Hainsey's contracts up at
Jake
the end
Gardner
of the season.
may want. I think I'm starting to think because Jake Gardner's not having an impressive points year.
He might actually not take as much as we all think.
No.
Now, I mean, but the question will be, will he want to stay or will he want a fresh start? Obviously, with the fans booing him and the way people treat him around here, I would not surprise me if he decides to go somewhere else.
But this has been his only team for his whole career.
Anaheim.
He never played for the organization.
He never did, but he was drafted by them.
Right, but he never played a game for any other AHL farm team or team than the Leafs. So I think that, he would want to stay here, but that's just my assumption.
And his best buddy Morgan Riley's on the team. But I mean, really, it's a little bit more bigger than that when it comes to
it's
Jake.
about winning a cup.
He might want to get closer to home. I don't know.
Or maybe he would just want a bigger payday, right? Because the Minnesota Wild might offer him, who knows.
They're not afraid to offer giant contracts. We all know that.
Yeah. So let's get into the trade deadline here. And the biggest news before the trade deadline, this happened, I think, a day after we recorded the podcast. Matt Duchene traded from the Ottawa Senators to the Columbus Blue Jackets in a pretty good return for Ottawa.
So it was Matt Duchene and Julius Bergman.
He was in the Erik Karlsson deal.
I think he was, actually. And the people that go back are Vitaly Abramov,
yeah.
Jonathan Davidson, a conditional first-round pick, and a 2019 conditional first-round pick, and then a conditional 2020 first-round pick. Now, the conditions that are if the pick is top 3, I think that's a 2019 pick, if I'm not mistaken, the Senators will receive Columbus's 2020 first-round selection. If Duchene re-signs with the Blue Jackets, Ottawa will receive the 2020 first-round pick. If the 2019 pick moves to 2020 for the top 3 pick, I guess,
then the pick's exchanged.
Yeah, if Duchene does not re-sign with Columbus, no pick is exchanged.
Oh. Well, that's pretty good for both
So if he
teams,
does not re-sign with Columbus, they don't get 2 first-round picks?
I think they don't only get 1 first-round pick, but they get the other one. I think it's a good haul for both teams, but especially for Ottawa, because listen, this guy wasn't going to resign. Why would he resign for a team that's not doing good at all? Obviously, he's on a rebuild. I mean, they're trying to be on a rebuild, but I mean, and Ottawa moved the asset, and then they got a lot back. This Vitaly Abramov guy,
yeah,
he's supposed to be pretty good. He tore it up. I think he played in the Q. He played in the CHL somewhere. So he tore it up. And they get another prospect there. I don't know about I think they also got a defenseman.
No, they didn't. They got those 2 players and then
2
picks.
first.
Yeah.
Jonathan Davidson.
Davidson and 2 first-round picks.
And 2 first-round picks. I mean,
conditional, obviously.
Solid deal for Ottawa. And if Matt Duchene doesn't resign it, I think they only get 1 pick.
Well, I'm not sure how this works, really.
I don't know. But Ottawa, I mean, this could be...
If the 2019 pick moves to 2020 as a result of the lottery and Duchene signs with Columbus, that 2020 pick moves to 2021.
Oh.
And the really interesting thing for Ottawa is that those conditional first-round picks, the reason they're top 3 protected, I think, is the fact that Columbus doesn't know if any of these guys are re-signing. And they could be down near the bottom next year. We have no idea.
Exactly, because they're not a surefire playoff team. And Columbus's GM, he has to be like, well, we don't want to end up like
Jarmo Kekalainen?
Yeah. He doesn't want to end up like what Pierre Dorian did with Colorado. So he's like, we really don't want to end up like you guys where you are right now. So we're going to make sure those picks are lottery protected. Top 3 protected. Right? So
exactly.
I think it's a good move for both teams. But, man, Columbus, huge props for them for going all in. Finally, because their fans deserve it. And I think that, I mean, with Duchene, and they obviously got Ryan Dzingel, too. Do you want to go to that trade now?
Actually, I was just going to go up the list here. Former Leaf Connor Carrick gets traded to the New Jersey Devils. I'm just going to leave that there.
Okay.
And then the Ryan Dzingel goes to Columbus and a 7th-round pick, which is Calgary's pick. And Ottawa gets Anthony Duclair and 2 seconds.
Another good haul for Ottawa.
Anthony Duclair, by the way, scores yesterday against the Capitals in his first game with the Ottawa Senators.
I mean, Anthony Duclair, I think this is his 5th team in the last 2 years.
I don't know about 5 teams, is it?
Well, he played
Arizona,
Chicago, Columbus. Okay, 4 teams. I mean, it's a throwing guy at this point. I don't know if he can resurrect his career.
Years old or something like that.
He's young, but
he's going to get the time in Ottawa. He's going to get the time of play.
He is going to get
He's not going
to be on the second, even first lineup.
Right, he's not going to be on the back burners. He's
and for 2 seconds for another guy that probably won't resign. Good haul for Ottawa, and Columbus is all in, folks.
All in.
But going to their lineup, I mean, not that deep forward-wise.
No. That's why adding guys like Matt Duchene and Ryan Dzingel helped that immensely.
Mm-hmm.
Immensely.
Because going to their centers, they obviously have Duchene, they have Dubois. Boone Jenner, yeah, right. And then their 4th-line center, I have no idea. Would that be Dubinsky? I don't know. But
it's not a bad center core.
No, it's not. And then their wingers, off the top of my head, Dzingel, Josh Anderson, Foligno, Atkinson. That's a big one.
Josh Anderson.
I already said Josh Anderson.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, but they're not in a playoff spot at this moment.
And they lost yesterday to Pittsburgh, 5-3.
Montreal and I think Carolina are in the final wild card spots. It's not like they're second in the Metropolitan or first or even in a divisional spot.
Right.
They're banking on it with these players. So
yeah,
hey, I mean, props for them to go for doing something, but it's risky for sure.
Now let's go to the Dallas Stars acquiring Matt Zuccarello, and we'll get to what happened to him in a second. He goes to the Dallas Stars, and the Rangers acquire a 2019 conditional second-round pick, and then a 2020 conditional third-round pick. Now, conditions become a 2019 first-round pick if the Dallas Stars advance to the third round of the playoffs, which I don't really see that happen. And Matt Zuccarello plays in 50% of the games in the first two rounds. If he's healthy, then yes, that could happen. But making it to the third round, the Dallas Stars, I don't even know if that's
I think they're in a playoff spot, but they must be in a wild card.
And so the 2020 conditional third round pick, the condition becomes a first round pick if they re-sign Matt Zuccarello.
That's huge for New York.
It could go from a third round pick to a first. That is massive.
It's funny about the Rangers. They're on this rebuild, but they're doing it very well.
Yeah.
They're doing it. They came out last year and they said that, listen, we're going to be on the rebuild, so they sent a letter out to all their fans. We're going to be not too good in the next year or two, so just prepare yourselves. We're going to be selling these players. And they sold Matt Zuccarello, Kevin Hayes, obviously, we'll talk about later, but
both guys with expiring contracts.
Perfect.
So you got to do.
And who knows? Maybe you could see one of those players come back to New York in the offseason.
Let's say Dallas, out of nowhere, gets to the third round and they re-sign Zuccarello. That turns into 2 first-round picks.
Yeah, I mean, he's out for 4 weeks, which sucks because he had a really good first game, blocked a shot.
First game.
Yeah, blocked a shot, and tough for Dallas, obviously, giving up that much for a guy who probably won't be back until the first round, 4 weeks.
Yeah.
So, who knows?
Now, the next one is the Buffalo Sabres acquiring Brandon Montour from the Anaheim Ducks in exchange for Brendan Gooley and a conditional 2019 first-round pick. The condition is the draft pick will become either San Jose or St. Louis, both owned by Buffalo, based on the final order of the selection in the draft. So it could be like the higher or lower selection.
But it doesn't say teams. Higher or lower.
Well, no, I don't know. That's why I said high. It's either the higher one or the lower one.
Yeah.
Which one.
So
nonetheless, it's going to be a first-round pick. That's
right,
basically what it is.
But Buffalo had 3 first-rounders.
Yeah.
So they had to give up one for a guy who I wanted on the Leafs. You did too.
Yep.
Highly skilled right-handed defenseman. Buffalo's defense core is looking mighty good.
Yeah, you have Rasmus Dahlin, you have Rasmus Ristolainen, you
Zach Bogosian,
and Brandon Montour.
Marco Scandella.
Well, he's been hurt, hasn't he?
No, he played. He played the game I went to on the Monday.
No, he didn't really look.
Well, Marco Scandella, Jake McCabe. I think personally maybe Buffalo Sabres have a better defense core than Leafs.
Yeah, but the problem is they have no scoring past Eichel and Sam Reinhart.
Skinner.
That line.
Yeah.
They have nothing past that line.
No, they don't. But it's a premium. Buffalo paid a premium. Anaheim did well in this trade.
I still believe the Sabres aren't a playoff team. I just do not see them as a playoff team at all. They don't have the goaltending. Yeah, they might have some pretty good defensemen, but they don't have a second, third, or fourth line.
Yeah, they don't have the depth.
And they don't have a goalie.
Carter Hutton's been mediocre at best for the last month
and
or
Linus
so.
Allmark has, what do you expect?
Yeah.
So.
Here, go back for a sec. Your thoughts on Brendan Gooley? I mean, you were...
young defenseman, again, look, he hasn't really done anything as of yet, but...
promising, still young.
Young defenseman, you throw him into a situation where he's going to succeed. And
for playing time for a bad team like Anaheim. So.
And look, they already have some defensemen that he can learn from. A guy like Cam Fowler.
If you were to pick the winner...
I would say the Buffalo Sabres.
I would too.
I mean, they got rid of a defenseman for a defenseman that hasn't been good, and Montour's damn good.
3.3 cap hit for Montour.
Now I don't know how many years left that is.
Yeah, go to that quickly.
For Brendan Montour. He's 24 years of age. He's in the he has 2, so this year and next year.
That's good. Both teams came out pretty good, but I would say Buffalo would be the winner there.
Oh, yeah, I do believe so. Then they got their small trade for the Toronto Maple Leafs. Nothing really special. The Leafs acquire Nicholas Baptiste from the Nashville Predators for future considerations.
That future considerations is Clark. Emerson Clark?
Oh, the greasy guy from preseason.
But why didn't they put his name in there?
Yeah,
it's kind of a little bit of a slap in the face.
It's a low blow right there for Emerson Clark. But really nothing crazy there for the Leafs. Again, adds depth to the Marlies for a playoff run if they're going to go for it. They probably are because they're playing actually really well. But...
Who knows?
Who really knows? Another huge trade, the San Jose Sharks acquire Gustav Nyquist from the Detroit Red Wings, and it is a 2019 second-round pick and a conditional 2020 third-round pick from the San Jose Sharks. So the condition on that pick, the 2020 third-round pick, will upgrade to a second if the Sharks go to the Cup Finals. Or Nyquist re-signs with the Sharks. So bottom line, they're getting a second-round pick in this year's draft. But that conditional third in 2020 could be a second if they make it to the Cup Finals or re-sign Nyquist.
Listen, even 2 seconds for Gustav Nyquist, if that comes to that, is a steal for San Jose. Gustav Nyquist is
a damn good player,
is a 50, 60-point player. I mean, I'm surprised Detroit did this trade because the Red Wings aren't known for trading a lot of players. They usually re-sign players for long periods of time in keeping the same roster. I'm surprised they sold on Nyquist. Good for San Jose. They got him for a pretty good price.
Yeah, they really did.
Yeah.
Winnipeg Jets acquire, obviously, like you said earlier, Kevin Hayes from the New York Rangers, and in return, the Rangers get Brendan Lemieux, good-looking young player. Again, not in a good situation in Winnipeg, going to a team where he's going to get some time, so you never know what can happen there. A conditional first-round pick from the Jets and a conditional fourth-round pick. So, the conditions, the pick transfers, I don't know which pick, conditions to the pick,
if Winnipeg wins the Cup.
Okay, so should the draft lottery render the 2019 NHL first-round selection a top 3 pick, the Rangers will receive Winnipeg's first-round pick selection instead. So it's a really weird thing there.
So they're pretty much getting a first-round because Winnipeg's not falling out of the playoffs.
No, of course not.
So, I mean, again, a great trade for both teams, but I got to get... I mean, yes, Winnipeg got Kevin Hayes, who can put up maybe 30 goals. Expiring contract, but the Rangers make it out pretty good with a first-rounder.
Exactly. You made it first-round pick and a young player in Brendan Lemieux who's going to... Lemieux, or whatever they want to
for a straight rental. They cannot re-sign Kevin Hayes with their cap situation. Line A is up. I think you have a few more players that are up, too.
Isn't another young player up as well?
Not Ehlers, not Shifley.
I want to say Kyle Connor, maybe.
Yeah, you're right. Kyle Connor's up too. So they can't re-sign this player, and he could go back to the Rangers. The Rangers on a slow, steady, but really good rebuild.
Yeah.
Every team should take notes of what the Rangers are doing at this point. Yeah, you could talk about the Derek Brassard trade.
So funny thing is, the Columbus Blue Jackets flipped Julius Bergman in the Adam McQuaid trade to New York. So he was a Columbus Blue Jacket for a few days. From the Ottawa Senators, and then they flip him to the Rangers and a 4th and a 7th for Adam McQuaid.
Someone that the Leafs were talking about getting a 4th or 7th in a prospect for just Adam McQuaid.
Fine by me, if I'm the Rangers.
Yeah, exactly.
They made a few small but really good trades. Obviously, with the like you said, with the I guess package they got back for Kevin Hayes, and getting that much back for a guy like Adam McQuaid. Good. Fine by me.
Yeah, exactly. Just talk about the Derek Brassard trade a little bit, because
Derek Brassard gets acquired by the Colorado Avalanche team, obviously knocking on the playoff door, and a conditional 6th-round pick. So if he signs, they get a 6th-round pick. If
for
not,
a third,
there's no transfer. Yeah, for a 3rd-round pick to the Florida Panthers.
This is just straight cap, I think, for Florida. They just want to get the cap off the books. But hey, it's a great third-line center for the Avs, right?
Yeah, it really is. Let me keep going here. This is a big trade here. Yeah, I love this trade for Nashville, bringing in a guy like Mikael Granlund and trading away Kevin Fiala. Now, cap-wise, there's a huge difference. Now, I think Kevin Fiala's contract's probably up at the end of the year, so that might have been a big
His
problem.
entry level,
Yeah, exactly. But Mikael Granlund's like a 50-point guy right now.
I don't know if he's a rental.
Granlund?
Granlund.
Granlund is... No, he still has another year after this at 5.7.
So he has... Yeah, okay, so his contract's up. I mean... They were in the market for Matt Duchene. That didn't happen, obviously. So I think this is the second best option for them. And giving up a young, promising guy.
Fiala's coming out of his entry-level deal. So.
Right, but I think that Minnesota can obviously sign him.
Oh, yeah.
Or can they with those 2 contracts on their team?
Well, they just re-signed Eric Stahl, too.
For a really good cap hit, though.
Yeah.
3.5.
Yeah. Well,
that's really good.
He is getting older, but he's not showing it. So
no, he isn't.
He really revitalized his career when he went to Minnesota from Carolina.
Well, and then New York was the disaster.
I totally forgot he was in New York. That's the whole point, I guess.
I don't know what Minnesota's doing in that sense. I mean, you're getting up a guy who is extremely promising. I think he had, 70 points last year?
Yeah, something like that.
Kevin Fiala is a good young player, but you're getting up a center for a winger? And
it's
younger, though.
Well, we did see that with Montreal and the whole Galchenyuk and Domi deal.
Who knows? Maybe, is it Paul Fenton? Who's the guy from Minnesota's GM? Is it Paul Fenton? I don't know, but
I don't know. I'm not sure.
He could be smart. Who knows?
Now, probably the biggest deal of the day, of trade deadline day. The Ottawa Senators part ways with Mark Stone. Now, with the whole Duchesne and the Ryan Dzingel trade, the last domino to fall was Mark Stone. And from the whole regime of the Ottawa Senators, the Erik Karlssons and all that, it's done.
That's it.
Mark Stone goes to the Vegas Golden Knights, and one-time Leaf, Tobias Lindberg, to the
back to Ottawa.
No, he went to Vegas.
Oh,
with Mark Stone.
He was wait.
Yeah,
so
that was in the Dion Phaneuf trade. Wait,
so how did he get back from Ottawa? Oh, who knows?
Did he pick up on waivers maybe or something?
I don't know. But
anyway, Stone and Lindberg go to Vegas. That sounds pretty crazy to say that. And Ottawa gets Oscar Lindberg, Eric Brandstrom, and a second-round pick. The fact that the Sens didn't get a first-round pick is shocking to me.
They're putting...
And Vegas has a deal in place for Mark Stone on March 1st. They'll have that contract ready to go for 8 years.
They're banking on Eric Brandstrom to be a top 4 defenseman. It looks like he is, but you're putting all your eggs in one basket. It's not like...
Because Lindbergh's 27 years old, so he's not anything special.
It's not like you got Brandstrom and a first.
Right.
Because then that first rounder, who knows? You're putting it. This trade's pretty much Mark Stone for Brandstrom in a second.
Yeah, exactly.
So, I mean, it's shocking that Ottawa did not get anything. And just knowing that Mark Stone... this isn't a rental for Vegas.
Right.
At all, right? So, I mean, this is the last domino to fall for Sens fans. They can't trade anybody else on their team who's good.
No, of big value, obviously.
Exactly. They're keeping Shabbat. They're keeping Brady Tkachuk. Now it's just drafting well and just rebuilding.
Problem: no first-round pick this year for the Sens.
No, but they got a pretty good... they got a really good return for Duchesne. Mark Stone, not too much. Dzingel, I think they got a pretty good return back from him too. But
the fact that you don't have your own first-round pick is going to haunt the Senators till they die.
Yeah, it is. This could be the worst trade ever.
Yeah. You traded Kyle Turris and a first.
Yeah.
It was a 3-team trade. You trade Kyle Turris to the Predators. The first-round pick goes to Colorado, and you get Duchesne.
And they traded Shane Bowers, too. A guy they drafted in 2016.
Why?
Yeah.
Oh, my God. The Ottawa Senators...
I was shocked it didn't work out, but, hey, at least they didn't let any of these guys walk.
Yeah, exactly. Big deal again. Wayne Simmons, as we talked about a little bit earlier on, goes to Nashville in exchange for Hartman and a conditional 4th. So no second, like we said. It was a Hartman. You agreed with me. Hartman and a conditional 4th. The condition is that if the Nashville Predators win one round of the playoffs, that changes to a 3rd. Again, the Leafs could have done that.
They could have done that exactly. Really, I mean, who's a Ryan Hartman on the Marlies? Definitely not Bracco.
Well, I mean, they could have been.
Maybe. Yeah. No, exactly. Maybe.
Yeah, where does Bracco fit in this team in years to come? Really?
Who knows what the cap situation? Who knows if we're gonna trade Kapanen and Janssen? Who knows?
Yeah.
But with this trade, I think that this is the straight rental for Nashville.
Oh, yeah.
And they needed a net front presence since
cap-wise, they're always going to be in problems.
Exactly. Ever since Patrick Hornquist left, I think they needed a net front presence, and they did, and they got Wayne Simmons. So
because you look at, they just acquired, like we said, Granlund. I mean, you look at the cap compared to him and Fiala. It's basically $5 million.
Pretty much.
So now you're going to have to try and sign Wayne Simmons. Get good luck with that.
Yeah.
I mean, the season he's having, he's not really helping his case in free agency, but he is still Wayne Simmons.
But he has a lot of miles on him.
He does. That's where you beg to differ. Well, is a team going to give him that contract?
Term-wise, too.
Right. So there's lots of questions going for him in the offseason. Marcus Johansson goes to the Boston Bruins, and that just gets under my skin. And they send a 2nd and a 4th to the New Jersey Devils, and New Jersey actually retains 40% of his salary as well.
So how much is he making on Boston?
1.83.
Well, hopefully for this year, because he's an... yeah, I can't see him being...
Yeah, this is his last year.
It sucks because...
They bring him in and Charlie Coyle. That just... oh, my God.
And we bring in Nick Baton.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know.
That just speaks for itself, what we're thinking right now. So.
And I think that was really, if I'm not mistaken, the biggest trade. There's no real more. Nothing really more.
So
busy trade deadline. Not really the day like fully, but it was more or less the few days like leading up to it and the day. That
you
was just
shocked
hectic.
that the Edmonton Oilers or even the Calgary Flames didn't do anything?
Doesn't surprise me. Look, Calgary, yes, because they're a team that's seriously going for the cup this year. That team is dynamite over there in the West. Edmonton, they're just garbage. They don't know what they are.
But this was the smartest move for Edmonton to not do anything.
I'm
so happy they didn't buy. Well, I would like to see them buy just to.
By the way, the Leafs play the Edmonton Oilers there tonight.
At home.
At Scotiabank Arena.
Oh, wow.
McDavid is back from his little 2-game suspension, which was well deserved. It was a headshot, no matter who he is. It's a headshot.
Yeah. On who was it? Adam Henrique, I think.
Or something like that.
But busy trade deadline. Of course, we would like to see the Leafs get a right-handed defenseman or some size. A Chris Kreider would have been nice, but the price would be immense.
Yeah. Nick Leddy, by the way, was the head. Who
did I say?
Adam Henrique, wrong team. Same division, I guess. So we'll give you that. But
Nick Leddy's on the
Islanders.
Same division.
Yeah, as the Devils.
Adam Henrique's on the Ducks.
All right. That's what
you're way off today.
Hey, you know what? Yeah. You know,
Brian Harman and a second.
Wow, look at that. Calgary Flames. 40, 16, and 7 and 1.
That trade with Carolina is looking better and better by the day.
And Dave Reddick's been consistently good. 21, 5 and 5.
So let's break down quickly because we're a little short of time here. The Leafs play the Oilers today. Obviously, they won against Buffalo on Monday. I went to that game. Great game.
And Saturday against Montreal. Big game there. The 3-0 come from behind victory. And you wanted to get to something.
Yeah, I did. Obviously, if you've not heard, us Leaf fans, are known for eating our own cat shit. Well, not our own cat shit, but cat shit,
apparently.
Yeah. So a guy, once the Leafs were down 3-0, because you're at my place when the game was on.
And he decided to be smart.
Well, he decided, I don't know.
He tried to think, I'm cool. I know what I'm talking about. So I'll make a bet.
Yeah, so he said that, listen, if the Leafs come back from 3-0, which is difficult to do.
Yes, it is.
I will eat cat shit. And the Leafs won that game 6-3.
6 unanswered goals.
But,
and the thing I love about that game, the guy ate cat dung. I mean,
whatever.
He's an idiot. But he's a Leaf fan, so we love him.
But he's a man of his word, and
that is.
He's from great old Oshawa, Ontario. Homegrown. Doesn't surprise me. The Schwa. Dirty Schwa.
It doesn't really surprise me. But anyways, going back to that game against Montreal, I mean, did we love it that much? Max Domi and Brendan Gallagher just their yaps going.
I remember when the camera pointed to Gallagher yelling, "You lost it."
Oh, I lost my mind. Buddy, you're down 6-3. You give up 6 unanswered goals. Why are you chirping the referee?
And
play a good hockey game.
It's like, sorry, I can't hear you.
So he's like, what? Sorry, I couldn't hear you. I couldn't hear you in the offseason either.
I couldn't. Sorry, my phone wasn't on. It was on silent when you were trying to call me.
Or you were on the block list or something like that. And then capping and blowing kisses. Oh, this is the first time, it feels like at least, that the Leafs-Habs rivalry actually means something in quite some time.
Well, we definitely won't face them in the playoffs, I don't think, in the first round. But yes, it means something because both teams are good. For once, when the Habs were good, the Leafs were garbage for the longest time.
And for the last couple of years, the Leafs have been great. The Habs have been garbage.
Exactly. So the rivalry's renewed, thankfully, and it's great. Now, obviously, we face Edmonton today, which is going to be special.
And then on the second night of a back-to-back, the Leafs go to Long Island to take on the New York... Is it Brooklyn? I don't even know if they're in...
Doesn't matter.
They take on the New York Islanders, and the story of that game is going to be John Tavares' return, and expect the whole arena to boo like crazy.
And we don't have much time, but they came up with a video of basically a bunch of Islander fans making this video about how John Tavares is a traitor and how they don't respect him anymore. I get you lost your franchise center. Any team would be mad, but you're doing great right now. You're in first in the Metro. And for the longest time when John Tavares was there, Garth Snow gave him nothing to work with. No. But you have Matt Barzal. You're a great team, so why are you still salty? I don't know. we're not going to get into that because that's for another conversation. We might get into that next week's podcast.
Yeah, because the game will be over and we'll be able to talk about.
And then on the Saturday we face who?
I think it's Buffalo again, isn't it? Buffalo again at home.
Oh, at home.
At home.
So maybe Buffalo. Hopefully, Buffalo doesn't call for revenge. So switching to the Raptors. And huge game last night against the Boston Celtics, wiping the floor with them.
And I think the reason I love that game so much is because not only did you expose the Celtics like crazy, it was on national TV for another thing if you want to throw it out there as like a statement game. But the way they like we hear it coming into the game, Kyrie Irving against the Toronto Raptors averaging 30 and 10 or 35 and 10, and the Boston Celtics are one of the best defensive teams in the game. Two things. Number one, Kyrie Irving's stat line: 7 points, 4 rebounds, 5 assists on 3 of 10 shooting. He was terrible.
And this is after he said that, well, what team can beat us in a 7-game series?
Yeah, and then Jason Tatum says, we're going to the finals. Stop running your yap when you guys can't win basketball games.
But, true, this isn't the regular season. Playoffs are a different story.
Doesn't matter. Look, the Boston Celtics are a horrendous road team. Look, they're like 20 and 8 at home, which is fantastic. But they're like 14 and 16 on the road. And I'm sorry, when you're the 5th seed, you know the math, you know standings. Who are you playing in the 4th seed? Philly. Well, you're 5th, they're 4th. Who has home court? They do.
Yeah, but last year in the playoffs, they had a pretty good road record.
They were also second in the Eastern Conference.
They were also second in the Eastern Conference.
And every team they faced, they had home court advantage.
Right. I'm as hyped as you are, but let's not get over ourselves. Let's not get too cocky, Raptors fans, because we've seen multiple years, amazing regular season. Sure, we run into LeBron, but let's just calm
LeBron's
ourselves.
not there anymore.
I know.
I'm sorry.
Let's just calm ourselves down. And the East is wide open for the Raptors to make a huge run, and I can't wait.
They are. It's totally watching the Raptors out there tonight and just dismantle the defense of the Boston Celtics and make them look lost. They look nowhere to be found. Offensively, the Celtics were just terrible.
What's their road record?
They're 14 and 16. They're awful on the road.
Considering they're 12 games over 500?
They're 23 and 8 at home. That's great. Yeah. But you're 14 and 16 on the road.
You got to play on the road.
Problem will be when you face, Philly in the first round. Okay, let's say you get through Philly. Barely, because you might have to beat them in the 6th if you're going to beat them at all. Okay, that's great. Now you got to try and go through Milwaukee on the road.
Yeah.
All right, try and beat them.
Yeah.
Okay, let's say they beat them. And let's say the Raptors are going all the way to the Eastern Conference Finals. You have to face the Raptors in Toronto in a 7-game series where you've played 2 games in the regular season in Toronto and got your butt wiped both times.
So if Boston, if
Boston is 5th in the Eastern Conference going into the playoffs, it would not shock me if they're eliminated in the first round.
No, because of their horrendous road record, and especially when you're facing the 76ers, who's a great team, and even they're on the road not too good.
You also look at the trade deadline for what it was, right? The Raptors acquired Marc Gasol, and you get the Milwaukee getting Mirotic, and then you get Philly obviously getting Tobias Harris and Boban and guys like that, and then picking up Wesley Matthews then Indiana picking up Wesley Matthews in the buyout thing. That's an incredible pickup for them.
Yeah. Boston.
What has Boston done?
Yeah.
Nothing. Not a single move.
They put all their chips into one basket in Anthony Davis, and that's what they're going to do in the offseason. But they need to keep up. Listen, I understand what Danny Ainge is thinking. He thinks that, we really don't need to add anything, which may be true. I can't really see a weakness with maybe their center.
They just don't. They look lost. They're trying a lot of selfish basketball. Yeah. When Kyrie is not playing like Kyrie, and he is in the lineup, they look awful. I mean, look in the first quarter. Kyrie wasn't bad in the first quarter, and he was having his way. And the Raptors were stuck to 32. The Raptors gave up 32 points in the first quarter.
So the only way we would face the Boston Celtics in the playoffs if
they become in the
it would be in the finals. No. But I'm saying if the playoffs started right now.
Yes. The only way you would see Boston is in the conference finals
because Boston would have to go through Philly, and then they would have to go through the winner of the Bucks and the Hornets
for right now. Yes,
which would probably be the Bucks. So yeah, I mean that's a tough road for them, man. But statement win for the Raptors. Statement win for the Raptors. We keep saying this, and it's great. I just want, hopefully it transitions into the playoffs.
I can't see why it won't.
Because what happened in that Orlando Magic game?
Look, everybody has a bad game. You see it in every single sport. You see the Leafs, right? They play an amazing game against a great team. The Leafs win, 5 straight games, then you get shut out by the Coyotes.
And then they
You
fall
don't see
asleep.
it coming. You don't see it. And then they play a couple bad games, and then right back in it and score 6 against Montreal, and then 5 against Buffalo, and we're like, wow, they're back. Every team goes through it. The Raptors had won 7 straight going into their Orlando Magic game. There was no kind of hype for the game. Kawhi sitting out for rest, load management, or whatever it's called. I'm shocked about the reason he sat out there, but I'm not. Look, if he's healthy for the playoffs, I don't care. I really don't care, because that's what we want him for.
Yeah.
You've already said it. You've already said it that, yeah, it's great that we're doing it right now, but we want to see it in the playoffs. Well, you want your guys healthy for the playoffs, and I know Kawhi is sitting out here, but
why is he sitting out?
Because you want this guy as 100% as possible. You throw him in a stupid game against Orlando Magic and he gets hurt.
Yeah. Well, yeah. It's because
now the reason I was kind of confused about it is because you just had a week and a half off. You played one game against the Spurs. It was a great game. It was an electric game. Did we even talk about that in the podcast yet?
But let's get into it later. But
then he set out the next game, and I'm like, why would you?
You can't be saying what ifs all the time. Anybody can get hurt at any time.
Right.
With Kawhi Leonard, you're not going to be resting him in the playoffs at all.
Right. So what? Just give him the rest now. Why does it matter?
No, it doesn't matter. But even I'm a little frustrated about why he's not playing. I get it, for a team like the Orlando Magic, you really do not need to play him. Give I don't know, more minutes to someone on the bench.
Yeah, but you also go to the Orlando Magic game and you think about the Raptors players who usually play well. Siakam, we got so used to that guy hitting over 20 points a game. He only had 10. You know, Jeremy Lin only gave you 6. You got nothing from Norman Powell, right? So they didn't.
Who was resting?
It was just Kawhi Leonard, and obviously Fred VanVleet is still hurt, so you didn't have him. Look, you had a bad game. Oh well, and you're facing Orlando, a team who's probably not going to make the playoffs. So they're making a big push right now. But
true, but now is the time where you want to get Kawhi into the mojo of playing every game.
Agreed. But you also want him to play against the best teams. You faced him. You played
was
against
that on
Boston.
A back-to-back?
No. You played against Boston at home, and you crushed them. I don't give a damn about that Orlando game because they responded with this.
Yeah, and this
if they came back out against Boston and got and Boston wiped the floor with them at home, then yeah, that's a problem. But the fact that they took over that Orlando game at home and sucked, and then had Boston come to town and clear them out and just say, "Hey guys, second quarter, go have a safe trip home." I mean, to watch that, and obviously another big test for the Raptors is coming up though Friday night against Portland, who is 37-23
at home.
Pretty good team, yeah, it's at home, but 8:00 again, another primetime game. Very interesting to see a lot of these primetime games.
Yeah, it is, because the Raptors are a good team, so they want to televise these.
Damn
I would
time.
imagine. Well, it's a small-ish market, medium size at best for the Raptors. But yeah, I completely agree with you. I think that they should have been doing this a long time ago.
Yeah.
To be honest with you. And the playoffs obviously start pretty soon. 20 games left, something like that.
I think we're at 62, so yeah, 20 games left.
Yeah. And what's your I wouldn't say expectations, but how are the players that we signed doing in your book? Like Jeremy Lin, he was used pretty, I wouldn't say sparingly. He's getting starting minutes a couple games.
The thing with Gasol, his shot is not falling right now. However, he's doing a lot of other things, man.
Yeah.
Look, the thing about JV, when his offense wasn't flowing, yikes.
Yeah.
You know, he didn't really have the defensive type of game. He didn't have the 3-point shot. He didn't have the presence on the inside. But you look at a guy like Marc Gasol, and yeah, he only had 5 points yesterday, and he shot 2 of 6. So it's not great. Mm-hmm. But he did give you 8 assists. He did give you, where are we here? He did give you wait, is this the Boston game? Yeah, he did. He blocked a shot as well. And plus 18 was Marc Gasol on the floor. So yeah, is points-wise, did he do anything crazy yesterday? No, not really. But he did impact the team in every which way. Again, a great example of that, Kyle Lowry. Yeah, only 7 points yesterday, but he had 11 assists. And he took a couple charges, and he was just a grindy defensively. And the thing I love about Kyle, and no one talks about it, is his ability to guard guys a lot bigger than him.
Well,
yesterday, Marcus Morris, whatever Morris it is, tries to put Lowry in a post and back him down. It doesn't work. Lowry stands his ground, takes every hit, and then he tries to take a fading shot, misses it because Lowry's all up in his face.
Yeah.
The defense Kyle Lowry brings, and you saw it against DeMar DeRozan in the Spurs game, whenever Lowry switched on to him. He was all over DeRozan. I don't think DeRozan made a shot while Lowry was on him, because it was that tight of defense. Now, can we go back to that game against San Antonio?
Yeah, with DeMar DeRozan's. Oh, yeah, I don't think we talked about that at all.
We didn't. That's why I wanted to get to this.
Yeah.
DeMar DeRozan's return to Toronto. There was going to be. We didn't know which kind of ovation. There were
standing ovation.
We had a feeling there was going to be a pleasant one. Obviously, with the way he left and the way he reacted, we didn't know how fans were going to react. But we all assumed there was going to be a standing ovation with cheers, and that's what it was.
Yeah.
Toronto fans classy like that when it comes to that. Let's just leave it there.
Yeah.
And obviously one of the greatest, if not the greatest, Raptor of all time, in DeMar DeRozan facing the Raptors at home. Now, sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, no, I was just going to say, we both predicted his stat lines. I said, 15 points, something like that. He was pretty good that game.
You expected him to have a terrible game. You could say the 1 rebound or whatever it was you said.
I don't know, something like that. But it was a tight game.
23 points, 8 assists, and 4 rebounds for DeMar DeRozan.
I wasn't expecting it to be that tight, to be honest with you. But
I did.
Raptors pulled it off. And it just looks so weird, DeMar DeRozan in the Spurs jersey. Him hugging it out with Lowry. Was he talking to Kawhi a lot?
A little bit, not too much. But the way the game ended, I think, is
that just sums up DeMar DeRozan's career, I think, for the Raptors.
Yeah, everyone in the comment section of the videos, at least, were saying DeChokeson, hey, Spurs fan.
Wait, what was that?
DeMar DeChokeson. I know, right?
You're trying a little too hard there, but
the way he the choking in the big moments and stuff like that, and everyone loved.
So Lowry stole the ball.
So Kawhi got the initial contact. DeMar DeRozan kind of, I don't know if he slipped
fumbled it
or whatever. It kind of fell over, and Lowry got all up in him. I think he knocked the ball loose.
Yeah.
And Kawhi grabbed it and went right down the floor and won the game. But the reason why that was so big is because Ibaka missed the free throw that could have tied the game. And we're like, oh my God, now we're down 1. We have to foul. Turnover, you get the lead.
And who turned it over? DeMar DeRozan. And then Kawhi Leonard with the layup.
Right. The dunk.
It couldn't have ended better for the Raptors. And it's sad because he is, I think, the greatest Raptor of all time. And he wanted to be here. He was Toronto. Yep. But it kind of sums up DeMar DeRozan's career for us in a nutshell.
Yeah.
Kind of.
In the big moments.
Getting so close in the big moments, but just kind of choking them away. Yeah, a little bit.
Right? It does bring back memories. And as much as I love DeMar DeRozan, we've
seen that
quite
a lot.
Often.
Yeah, we did. So, big games for the Raptors coming up, obviously.
You got Portland at home, and then you have Dwayne Casey in Detroit. Obviously, they're a team that the Raptors could be facing in round 1. That's the way it would match up right now. The Raptors would be facing Dwayne Casey and the Detroit Pistons.
It's funny because they weren't in a playoff spot the last time we checked. We were on the pod.
They've won 3 in a row. They're 8-2 in their last 10.
That's unbelievable.
And the Charlotte Hornets are now dropping off a little bit.
Would you rather face Charlotte or the Pistons?
Charlotte. I don't know. I don't want to see Blake Griffin and Andre Drummond in the playoffs.
Who else do they have? Do they still have Reggie Jackson and
Reggie Bullock? I think you're saying.
No, Reggie Jackson.
Oh, they do have Reggie Jackson still. Wayne Ellington they have now. I guess they picked him up at the buyout deadline. That's
Jose Calderon.
What else we got here? Anybody big? I guess Thon Maker they picked up, but that's really about it. Other than the 2 bigs in Griffin
you could see
and
this
Drummond.
being a trap game because who do we face after the Pistons?
Houston at home.
So maybe
Houston at home, and then in New Orleans taking on the Brow, and then on a nice little road trip there.
Yeah.
And then Thursday. Sorry, I don't know why I just scrolled all the way to March 14th, but the Raptors welcoming LeBron and the Lakers.
I was just gonna mention that it's not working with LeBron there.
Nope.
It's not working with Lonzo there.
Nope.
What do you think's the problem?
It could be a lot of selfish basketball. I mean, look, there was, I don't know if you saw this on Instagram or wherever, the defensive sequence from LeBron James on the Memphis Grizzlies. It was awful. Yeah. He looked like he was running around like a chicken with his head cut off and didn't know what the heck he was doing. And that's LeBron James we're talking about. It was shocking.
It's your first year there, but he's pretty much coaching the team.
Yeah, but when he first, when LeBron went back to Cleveland, that team was terrible without him.
And then when they got him, they were
First
amazing.
place in the East.
Yeah.
And a championship. Right? So
I think LeBron has to mentor, like, he has a lot of these young kids to mentor by himself. Listen, when he came back to the Cavs, they didn't have really anybody who was young or anyone that was really good.
Yeah.
And they were great. What, they had Kyrie Irving, who was a sophomore at that point.
And Kevin Love.
No, they didn't have Kevin Love when he
didn't
returned.
have Kevin Love?
No.
Oh.
They made the trade for Kevin Love. I think... No, you're right. No, I think LeBron James, when he came back, he played 1 year with Kyrie and Tristan Thompson. I think those were their only good two players. And then the next year, the following year...
I thought they already had Kevin Love. But, I mean, we could be wrong. But nonetheless, though, he takes a team that wasn't very good in Cleveland.
Because he didn't have to mentor any of those guys. Right? With Lonzo Ball being 22 years old. With
I feel like a lot of
Brandon Ingram, 21. Kuzma, 21.
I feel like a lot of these guys, a lot of the Lakers, they're all head cases.
Yeah.
There are a lot of, I'm this person. I should be the center of attention.
That's Los Angeles sports teams in general.
Right, but a guy that I have always hated since he came into the league is Kyle Kuzma. I always have and I always will. The way he reacted, I'm not sure who, like in his rookie year when he was having a great season and everyone's like, wow, this guy's an upcoming great player and, can't wait to watch this guy play and all that stuff. He got asked in a post-game interview. I don't know who it was he was asked about, but it was something like this. It was something like, so what does it feel like to fire up 20 points or whatever it was against like a LeBron James or something? He's like, who? Like, buddy, you're in your rookie year. You weren't a top 5 pick. Stay humble about it and play damn basketball. Don't need to be some cocky little, excuse my language, a cocky little shit.
Yeah.
There's no need for that.
No.
Play the game and win. And the Lakers aren't winning, and his mouth is pretty damn quiet right now.
And I'm really looking at some of the guys on the roster who's, supposedly a mentor or an older guy. You have Tyson Chandler and JaVale McGee. Well, are those guys you can really take advice from?
No.
I would say more Tyson Chandler than JaVale McGee, but really nothing. Obviously, LeBron James. And just going down the list, Lance Stevenson and Rajon Rondo, those are pests. I wouldn't take advice for any of those guys. They need somebody who's kind of like a Richard Jefferson when he came to the Cleveland.
Yeah.
Someone who's great in the locker room, isn't cocky, right? And someone who just plays their game and, like I said, is a great mentor. They need someone like that. I can't think of anyone off the top of my head, but really, are these young guys gonna really succeed or really get that mental game learning from, well, obviously LeBron James, maybe, but Rajon Rondo and Lance Stevenson as the two veterans?
More Rondo than anything else because he's been around winning a lot more.
He has, but I mean, he's a fiery type of guy. And
yeah, no, I know, but with Lance Stevenson, he's just I don't know what he is.
Well, both of them are.
Yeah, I know, but the thing about Lance Stevenson, I mean, last year he wasn't even on the Pacers. He got signed to like a 10-day contract at one point, I think it was, and then got signed the rest of the year. He didn't play much last year, and whenever he did, everyone was freaking out. I mean, it tells you right there how much, like, what this guy actually meant to the teams.
Well, yeah, but
he wasn't a huge impact player. He's just stupid sometimes.
Like, imagine, I know this would never happen, but even like a Dirk Nowitzki, could you imagine Dirk Nowitzki on, like, let's just say that Ingram was on the Mavs, right? I could see him being mentored by Dirk Nowitzki, being an amazing mentor. Right? For these young guys who are cocky, like you were mentioning about Kuzma, and they need to tone it down a bit and just play your game. And this year, they're obviously not making the playoffs, so I don't know.
They're only 3 games out of a playoff spot, but
even if they make it, they're going to get bounced out of the first round.
Oh, yeah.
Well, then again, LeBron James in the playoffs, we don't know.
Right, but he's had absolutely no supporting cast. Yeah. He has nothing that's going to consistently give him something on a game.
He signed for 2 years there, I think.
LeBron?
Yeah.
It's a 4-year deal.
Oh, it was a 4-year deal.
So this is not something that's going to go away pretty quickly. Because the team's ahead of them. And this is like, you look at the Minnesota Timberwolves, a team that traded Jimmy Butler and was going in the total different direction, is tied with them. And it tells you right there how bad they are.
Yeah.
How's Wiggins been doing? I haven't really heard anything about him. He was averaging 15 a game last time I saw him. Oh, he's getting better. Field goal percentage is way down, though. Only 39%.
But I told you this, and you were surprised. I think that the Timberwolves could make the playoffs without Butler. They still have Cat, obviously. They have Wiggins. The resurrection of Derrick Rose's career.
Well, they're only 3 games out, and DeMar DeRozan's San Antonio Spurs have fallen hard. They've lost 3 straight games. They're 3-7 in their last 10. The Sacramento Kings are 1 game out of a playoff spot.
When that was the Mike Bibby days. Peja Stojakovic.
Yeah.
Remember him?
That team has some damn good players. Bogdanovic is pretty good at 14.7 points a game. De'Aaron Fox is putting a great year together. He's averaging 17 and 7. Where's the man himself? Buddy Hield. This guy, he's averaging over 20 a game. This team...
The Pelicans are really knocking themselves for trading
And then
that guy.
Bagley shooting 50% from the field and averaging 14 a game in his rookie year. Then they added Harrison Barnes as well. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So and then
for a pretty price,
Willie
though.
Cauley-Stein, whatever the heck his name is, Harry Giles. Okay, I don't know why I said Harry Giles, but Willie Cauley-Stein's obviously a big impact player. They got 12 points as well. That team, I love the looks of them. Them and the Dallas Mavericks. Oh, I love the looks of those teams. Adding Kristaps for the Mavs looks good with Luka Doncic as well.
Yeah,
those two teams are two teams that I can't wait to watch in the near future.
Oh yeah, because if it's not this year, it's probably going to be next year. They're going to make the playoffs.
Right.
So Bradley Beal, it looks like he's more loyal than we expected. I die in that Wizards jersey.
But as we've learned in the world of sports,
exactly,
that quote means diddly squat.
No, because it's all a business and there's no loyalty whatsoever. So he wants to stay in Washington. Great on him for doing that, right? I respect the hell out of players that want to do that, but yeah. And quickly before we move to baseball, Space Jam 2. A childhood movie that I watched. You probably did too.
Oh, lots of
They're
times.
coming out with a sequel. And star basketball player Charles Oakley. I'm just kidding. LeBron James is going to be starring in there, and actually Charles Oakley wants a role. If I can find it here, I just saw it.
Well, you scroll down quite a bit, so you're probably not going to find it now. But
there it is. He wants a role in Space Jam 2. Maybe he could be one of the monsters.
Yeah, he probably would too. Like honestly, the Oak himself.
Or maybe he could just be the coach and get thrown out of the game halfway through for being intoxicated.
Probably.
Sounds
sounds
pretty familiar.
And LeBron James is the player just watching this from afar.
Do you remember when that was that on the podcast last year when he did that?
It might,
No,
I don't think so. I don't think so. He was at the Knicks game, wasn't he?
Yeah, and then there was like 4 refs surrounding him, and he was like punching people.
Hey, away from me! Like, buddy, don't get lit in a game.
But they carried him off.
Good night, Charles Oakley. You're not going to be starring in it. He could show up drunk to a set.
And then he would throw cameras around and like smash lights. You never know. They can't get him out of there. Dude, the dude's 6'11". It would have to take 7 people to get him out of there.
Whether he's 90 or whatever, he's still 6'11".
You might need Charles Barkley to get him out of there.
That guy can't do anything anymore. Get Shaq. Anyways, so let's switch to baseball now after that debacle. Speaking of debacle, the Toronto Blue Jays are 0-3 to start spring training. Now,
were they close games?
No. It really doesn't mean anything, though, that you lost 3 games because it's spring training and it doesn't mean a damn thing. But the story goes, in the first game of the spring for the New York Yankees, Troy Tulowitzki hits a home run off of Marcus Stroman in his first at-bat, and you rarely ever see emotion in a spring training game, but Tulowitzki was clearly showing emotion when he hit that home run. Now, I understand that
Take it however you want.
But his comments after the game, look, we understand his hatred towards Toronto right now, but you also got to realize if you're a Jays fan that he is 35 years old, coming back from a year and a half of not even playing, making a stupid amount of money, and you have some young guys coming up that are damn good-looking players, so you want to play them.
Was he asked that question?
Well, let me see his quote after the game.
Because if he was asked that question, I don't think he can really, swerve out of that.
These are his quotes. It was the biggest spring training homer I've ever hit in my life. Well, any really home run is meaningless in spring training. Was it extra special against the Blue Jays, they asked. No doubt about it, extra special. That was the team that basically told me I couldn't play anymore. Well, you basically did that to yourself. Yeah. It's spring training. It is what it is. But it was a big day for myself.
So he could have left it at no doubt it was extra special. That's it.
Yep, could have.
Because the media asked him that question. So he could have said, listen, it was extra special that it was against my former team. Leave it at that. But then he went on to say, well, the Blue Jays just didn't play me or thought I couldn't play. Yep. So, but we've seen before that he's a very outspoken guy. Obviously mentioned about that, well, if you're not trade me if you're not going to play me. This is before he was traded. So, I'm not surprised what he said. But
and if you're a Jays fan, look, as much as it hurts to watch him hit a home run against the Jays in spring training, first things first, it's spring training. Second of all, Troy Tulowitzki means nothing to us anymore. So how about we don't let it bug us?
But it will if we are facing him in the regular season, just like Josh Donaldson. Remember what happened there?
The Jays aren't going to be, a contending team this year, so I'm not worried if teams hit home runs off of us because it just... Look, would I love the team to make the playoffs? Oh, yeah, of course. Could they? Well, I mean, anything's possible.
Yeah.
But as Kevin Garnett would say.
Yeah, okay, so let's talk about this next quote by Ross Atkins. Or was it Ross Atkins?
Yeah, it was Ross Atkins.
Basically saying that
Vladimir Guerrero Jr. is not MLB ready yet. Now, everyone freaks out. It just absolutely loses their mind when they hear that.
He wasn't going to start with the Jays anyways.
No, so they were going to keep him in AAA for purposes of having him for an extra year. They were going to do that anyways. Now, we know he can hit. We know Vladdy can hit the baseball. We've seen it on countless occasions. We've seen him crush a home run off a tee, which is not easy to do. And you've seen him hit hotels, and you've seen all that crazy stuff. How good is he of a defender? And is he a decent runner? Well, I mean, the size of the kid, I don't think he's a very fast runner.
Yeah, I do think maybe he should...
Conditioning-wise, I think he should definitely adjust. I wouldn't say change, but adjust some things.
What's he...
And defensively, we have no idea what this guy is. We have no clue.
He's probably what...
And he's 19.
He's probably what? Maybe like 230?
I don't know.
He's a big kid. And he looks like Prince Fielder out there. Now, Prince Fielder was a great player for the Tigers. Obviously, he can hit a lot of homers, but you got to run too.
He's not as big as Prince. That guy was just an absolute
Mind you, this kid is only 19.
Right, but Prince Fielder was a monster of a man. I'm just trying to find Vladdy and see if they give me a weight. He's only 200 pounds. So there you go.
Is he short?
6'1".
He looks hefty though. Like I was watching him hit a couple dingers in practice there, and he looks big. I mean, I don't think that's gonna affect him at all. But like you said, conditioning a little bit. But the dude's 19, and you knew he wasn't gonna start with the team anyways.
Yeah.
So he's gonna start in AAA.
And heck, who knows? I mean, look, this is just a quote from Atkins in spring training. I mean, May rolls around and he's crushing AAA. Oh, he'll be up here pretty damn quick.
And
so don't take those words and think he's not going to come up this year at all.
The guy I compare him to is the dude on the Braves. Did he start with
Ronald
the Braves?
Acuna? No, he didn't.
So I mean,
no, he didn't.
Yeah, exactly. So Jays fans, we're all excited. You're excited. I'm excited. Everyone's excited, and we should be. But let's take it down a notch and let's prepare this guy for the bigs. And you want him to struggle in spring training. That's what spring training's for, right?
Yep.
So let's just say he struggles in spring training, right? Because how many games do we have in spring training? What, 15?
Basically a month, so 20 games, something like that.
Okay, so in 20 games, let's just say he only hits 5 home runs.
Yeah.
That's not good. Send him down. Let him tear it up in the AAA, right? Bring him up in what, May or June?
You don't want him to struggle, and I think that's the point where...
No, I want him to struggle in spring training because that shows his flaws, right? And then I think he will. Well, who knows if he will or not, but in the past 3 games, I mean, he was okay, but didn't really impress. So let him struggle in spring training, send him down, obviously, because he wasn't going to start with the Jays anyways, and then like I've been mentioning, May or June, bring him up. If he's performing well in AAA. Who knows if he will or not. He probably will be, but...
What's the rush? I mean, really?
There's no rush.
Are the Jays going to be good this year? No. So...
They're potentially going to be worse than last year, but they're going to be more fun.
Yes.
So,
exactly.
Yeah, I mean,
let's go through some positives, because we're talking about some negatives here. The Tulowitzki deal, and then the whole comment by Atkins. In the first game of the year, the Jays lost 4-0, which sucks. But... they only had 5 hits, and all 5 of those hits are from young players. Teoscar Hernandez, 2 for 2. Santiago Espinal, he was the guy in the Steve Pierce trade last year. He went 1 for 2 in his spring training debut. Jonathan Davis went 1 for 2. And Bo Bichette went 1 for 2 in his spring training debut right now. And Ryan Bruckey started that game and went 2 scoreless innings, so great to see out there. And remember we talked about in the last podcast, the guy the Jays picked up in the Rule 5 pick, Elvis Luciano, the 19-year-old that's going to be...
Yeah.
He went a clean inning, gave up a hit, walked the batter, but nothing really went on there for him. And that was in the first game against the Tigers. They lost 9-8 to the Orioles in the second game. Positives, Billy McKinney went 2 for 3. Anthony Alford 1 for 3. Bichette had 2 at-bats. Had a hit and a walk. Lourdes Gurriel Jr. went 1 for 3 with an RBI. Rowdy Tellez 2 for 3. And Vladdy Jr. gets a hit and an RBI in his first game and also scores a run as well. Dalton Pompey went 2 for 3. This guy has been nowhere to be found for years, and I'm hoping he gets a chance.
Video watcher.
Well, he did retweet, or he mentioned one of my tweets out there when
so are we
trade
in the
last year.
grapefruit or the cactus?
Grapefruit.
Oh, geez.
And
so we're the only team that doesn't have a win at all.
Doesn't matter. Spring training. Anything else here? Kevin Biggio went 1 for 3 in that game. Sean Reid-Foley didn't have a great start.
So you're doing these recaps every week, right?
I'll be doing once a week. I'll be going through these games. And the Yankees in that game against the Yankees. Jays lost 3-0.
I love that Miami Marlins logo. It
looks pretty nice. I do got to admit.
I like with the orange accents too. Really, really nice.
In that 3-0 loss to the Yankees, the Jays had 1 hit. And it was Teoscar Hernandez again.
What was the score? 3-0.
Yeah, 3-0. Yeah, Stroman gave up
so
2
we
home
faced
runs.
the Tigers, the Yankees. Who else did we face? Or was the Tigers, right?
Orioles lost 9-8.
9-8, yeah.
And today, so then we were supposed to play Boston yesterday, but it got canceled due to rain. And the Jays play the Pirates today.
The 3-1 Pirates.
Yeah.
But Jays fans, we have the season starts usually it's early April.
Well, it actually last year it started late March, so I don't know when the first game of the year is going to begin this year. I want to say it's going to be the same thing at the end of March. I'm trying to find this here. Milwaukee, no. Detroit, no. Is that it? March 28th? At Rogers Center. Wow. What about this one? Olympic Stadium. Yeah, so March 28th against the Detroit Tigers is the first game of the year at 3:37, which is very stupid.
Not 3:35?
Not even that. It's a first game of the year at 3 o'clock.
Yeah, usually be like 7:07.
Well, they did that last year, too.
Plus, we're playing
a
at
midday
home.
game, yeah, against Detroit. So, hey, winnable series to start us off the season.
Yeah, don't say that because we might be worse than Detroit.
Well, we never know.
You never know.
But we're about a month away, a month tomorrow, until the season gets started for the Jays. It is crazy how things are flying by. Do you want to get the podcast questions? Though I don't think there's a whole lot more to talk about when it comes to the Jays.
Not really.
Just want to run through the spring games a little bit there.
I got a few questions, too, from the boys there.
Like, 4 or 5 of them. There's actually...
Someone tell me how do you get that dark mode. Looks sweet.
Yeah, I don't even know how to do this, honestly. I don't know how I did it. I think it's just like updated Twitter and bang, there it was. Anyways, Michael, thoughts on Tulo's comments after the game on Monday? I thought it was a joke. We already talked about that. Roderick, why does no one believe Leaf fans when they say they're going to beat the Bruins in round 1? It's getting annoying because the Leafs have not beat the Bruins in a round before, and the Leafs got spanked by the Bruins in the regular season so far this year.
What's our record? I think we're 1-3.
Yeah. And the losses have been not very close.
And just coming from the trade deadline, the Bruins added 2 major pieces, and we added a minor move. So it doesn't look too good. I don't blame people for thinking that we're going to get... Listen, if this was any other team, like let's just say that Washington before last playoffs, well, why does everyone talk about like we can't beat the Pittsburgh Penguins? It's getting annoying. Because you haven't.
Yeah. But you look at the division the Leafs are in, right? They're obviously in the top hardest division of the... in the league. The top 3 teams in the Atlantic Division, all 3 teams, including the Leafs, would be number 1 in the Metro Division. The Central, any of the 3 teams at the top for us, Boston, and Tampa would be first in the Central. And it's just 3 of the 4 divisions. All 3 teams in our division would be top.
I know, but it looks like we're going to be having a date with the Bruins again. So
I'm just praying it's not on the road in Boston, but it looks like it might be again. And I don't want that.
Why can't we get rid of this team? Like, why?
Can we beat them this year, please? Just get it over with. It's getting annoying now. I hate the Bruins.
Well, don't we all?
Boston teams, period. I'm just going to leave it there.
Don't we all?
Chatterbox reviews. Question for Evan.
Ooh.
How does it feel getting smacked last week in fantasy hockey there, bud?
Well,
Hey, Chatterbox, bud. I mean, hey, Evan.
Hey, this is a question for me, not for you.
You're the one. You chirp everybody every week. Oh, let's make some trades. You chirp me when I lose a game or something. So I'm gonna let you answer this.
Well, thank you, but it's a little hard because I'm so high up in the standings, so I can't really hear you there, bud. All the way down at what, 4th place, 5th place? But realistically, though, yeah, you know what? It was a good matchup. Obviously you spanked me by like 30 or 40 points, but Connor McDavid was out for 2 games with suspension, so I'll leave it at that.
Oh, come on. The one game for Connor McDavid, I'm facing you this week, and he was out for...
Who's winning this week, by the way?
Is it like by 3 points?
No.
Calm down.
And I was gonna say something else. Hey, it was good, but Connor McDavid was up for 2 games, and hopefully
1 game against me. So
hopefully you make
no excuses.
Okay.
You can't make excuses. You can't make excuses because the one of the 2 games that Connor McDavid is playing was against me.
This question is for me, but you're talking the most.
Because you can't say, well, Connor McDavid was out for 2 games.
Well, he was.
Well, okay, you said you lost by 30 or 40 points.
Yeah.
So then, how does that make sense?
Hey, you never know. Connor McDavid could have a 4-point night, 2 games. How many points is that?
Problem. One of those 2 games he was out was against me. So that loss to him means nothing. It's only 1 game.
No.
Yes, he did. Monday night, they played.
He didn't play?
Right. He was playing tonight in his first game back.
Oh. I thought that...
Good try. Nice try.
Well, whatever. But, hey, hopefully you make the playoffs there, bud.
I will. I'm not worried about that.
No, not you. Chatterbox.
Well, he beat you, so I don't think it matters. Michael, you surprised the Leafs didn't make one more significant move at the deadline. We've already talked about that. Do you agree with Atkins saying Vladdy's not okay? We answered that too.
So there you go. I mean, I guess we'll end it there.
We'll wrap it up right there.
Thank you guys for listening to episode 8. I hope it's episode 8. I didn't even check if it was or not.
Well, you should have.
Let's do it right now.
Now you're stressing me out because I thought we already had this thing set up. Now I got to look up the podcast. Yeah, season 2, episode 7 was the 21st.
Right.
Thank you. Woo-hoo-hoo.
I'm always on. I'm always
nervous.
on today. But yeah, so guys, thank you for listening. And we'll be back next week, probably at the same time.
Yep.
Maybe on Saturday. I don't know. We'll discuss it, and I guess you'll be talking to them tonight.
I'll be talking to tonight Leafs, tomorrow Raptors, and sometime in the next few days Jays as well. Because we'll be wrapping up the Jays' first few games here. But for the Leafs, got Connor McDavid and the Edmonton Oilers there tonight. Leafs look for their 3rd straight victory and look to
and Edmonton Oilers looking for their 5th straight loss.
They look to get a win, and I mean that's been a rarity this year for the Oilers.
Get a win and maybe make
not
the
have
playoffs.
Not have McDavid get a point on every single goal
Or Draisaitl.
Or because they won 2-1 in their last game or whatever it was.
Who are they starting tonight? Koskinen, I guess.
Yeah.
Or is it Al Montoya?
Does it matter?
No.
They're terrible either way.
Yeah, exactly.
Go Leafs, go baby! Let's go tonight against the Edmonton Oilers, and Evan and I will talk to you guys sometime next week. Thank you guys so much for listening, and we will talk to you guys then.
Peace.